Welcome back to Etheria Restart. Today I'm here to sit and talk about Diting again on the channel, questioning if he is still relevant today inside of Etheria Restart. Now, before I go into this discussion with Hermes, I need to thank Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video and urge all of you who have never played the game, who may be wondering what this is all about, to download the game using the QR code right here or my link in the description. It does get you 10 free summons, and Diting being an SR Animus, you have better odds of getting him than you would an SSR, and I'll tell you what, he has been a premier damage dealer inside of the game and has helped out my account so much since day one. But Hermes, the question is, with all of the new Animus that have come to the game, some new SSRs, LDs, and all of that, is he still the insane damage dealer must-have Animus that he was when we covered him 6 weeks ago on the channel?
So I think the initial impression and the initial opinion is that he is at the top, but he isn't necessarily the top for a lot of stuff. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, I think Lilium and Yelly are both such crazy damage dealers and single damage that they just do so much that it makes it really hard for Diddy, obviously, as an SR, to keep up.
Right.
The thing that really keeps him up there and keeps him up on top is the key point you mentioned earlier, which is that he's so much easier to get than those SSRs, that you're able to build up a collection of copies of Didding, and you're able to fully max him a lot easier than you would any of these SSRs, and you get then all the benefits of his boosting between that, whether that's the increase of 10% in the damage he deals, the extra crit damage, crit rate, all that extra stuff that he brings is a lot easier to obtain, as well as being able to skill up all the lattices you need are all those purple lattice instead of getting those golden lattice, and that makes it very, very good to have. Especially as you're earlier on in the game and you don't quite have as much built up. He's a really easy damage dealer to build between the passive and everything else in his kit, that he is very good. But whenever you start to get to the top end, Yelly and Lilium, I think, just outperform and outpace him in most content, if not all.
So I think that that's really broken down well because, you know, Yelly, for example, you're not going to be able to upgrade her as quickly as you would a Didding, especially if we're even talking free to play or very low spenders. You know, these skills are not going to be able to get upgraded as quickly. If we just take a look at like some of us right here, like actually Lilium, I do have her all the way up, but like a real Mocha, let's say, we didn't put everything into all of her, but we're Didding, you could just spend that lattice, get it in there quick, and it's just easier to get your Animus to a max level and max potential. Do you want to go through any of the kit anymore at this point in time, or where do you want to go to continue the discussion?
I think looking at his passive is really big, because it provides so much value to his kit that it makes it so much better. Because if you look at it, what it does is it increases his crit rate. And then he also, so at this mark, so basically, and you'll see at the beginning, whenever his turn pops up, you see basically like a green, like sniper looking thing, well, like a sniper scope will basically appear on a certain enemy, and it's the enemy with the lowest HP in most cases, actually in all cases. And what they're going to be is he's going to be able to increase his crit rate by 60%, and 150% of his extra crit rate is converted into crit damage. What this means is that, in theory, at his base, you only need to build him with 40% crit rate, and he'll still crit every single time, unless he's going against Animus of the light type because of the affinity disadvantages. And so it makes it really easy early game. And I mean, even your build doesn't have him with 100% crit rate because of that. But that additional crit damage, that the crit damage multiplier you're able to add to that is so valuable that it's also something you really want to focus on, is trying to get him as much crit rate as possible, meaning you can overshoot it. Now, your build, I think, is a little bit outdated based on the gear that you have, but it is still so good at doing damage, and he's still used on your account because you don't have the premier damage dealers in Yelly and Lilium fully maxed. Obviously, you've got Lilium, all of her lattice and all of her skills invested, but you don't have all her dupes. And the same thing, you don't even have Yelly at all. So it kind of becomes, for these lower spend free-to-play players, it's going to be very valuable to keep Didding in your roster and keep using him and investing in him. And then as time goes on, and as you're able to get some of these better SR damage dealers, you're going to be able to go, okay, I'm going to invest more in those SSRs, give them all my best gear, kind of like what you've done with Lilium. And then you're not using Ditting as much, but he's still there as a backup damage dealer if you really need it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good breakdown right there. I mean, he's going to be probably one of the more premier damage dealers for free-to-play players that that want to be able to max out his potential, and for someone that is even a big spender, still has a place on the roster where you're going to be able to find use for him. And as you mentioned, like, my modules are probably a little bit out of date. I could probably put him in some better gear right now, which I don't necessarily have to, but I can, which would even, improve him a bit more. Do we want to see him in a little bit of battle?
Yeah, let's check it out. I think that he is still very much a well-used and well, um, and a very comparable and competent damage dealer.
Yep.
And so I think it's good. Yeah, let's check out him in some battle.
Let's do it. All right, so let's get into this battle with Ditting. We just had one victor there to make sure everything was running smooth, and it is. We're targeting the main boss as our primary right off the start. Take us through what Ditting's doing.
Yeah, so Ditting obviously is doing a lot of damage. You see that sniper mark kind of come up on one of the other side ads. It's really important with Ditting to make sure at the beginning of the battles that you're in your battle settings, you're setting it to attack the main boss first, because he will sometimes attack side ads first, and that's something you really don't want.
Right.
You'll see right now, I mean, just chunk. I mean, that was like at least half health of the boss just on that one ability. And so it makes it really, really fast getting through these runs when you're able to go so fast and do so much damage to the boss because of his passives and everything else. And it makes this a really easy, really quick fight at 40 seconds. I mean, that's just a fast win.
That is a fast win. And if you're wondering what he's talking about, it's right here in the battle settings. You can set on the attack order. You want to go after Nico Nana, not the side ads right there. If you don't have that on, he'll be attacking a gorilla instead. Now, while we just watch through this a little bit more in the background, what about people that don't have some of these other Animus that we're using in here? What are some Animus that could go well with Ditting in any of these battles? Because everyone doesn't have all the SSRs that we're rocking right now.
Right. So some of the best, I think, Animus to put with him. So Bayotin is great because she also gives a crit damage boost, kind of like Lily. She doesn't have like the ally attack. Bayotin is a great, and again, it's an SSR still, but it's a great SSR to put with. Another great one to put with Ditting is going to be basically, I mean, anyone that does damage. We recently did a video, I think, on some of the new, again, LD units, I know, but they're coming out. And Plume, I think he is going to scale so well with Plume. That is going to be a really fun thing to see in those PvE battles, just how good he is going to be able to be in pairing with her. I think that another great one is going to be to Tsukiyomi. She is, again, another RGB SSR, but she's going to be really, really good because of the cooldown reductions, the turn meter boosting, and everything else that she brings. Those are all going to be really good ones to help damage. Ditting boosts up his damage, which is really, at the end of the day, what you're really doing. You're building a team around him to boost his damage, boost his turn meter, and then let him rip your enemies apart.
That's the plan, man. That's how it works. And I appreciate you coming through and breaking it all down, man. And it seems that Ditting is still in the meta in Etheria Restart. Guys, I want to thank you all for watching. If you haven't played the game, scan the QR code, get yourself involved. And thanks to Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video. Take care, Hermes.